This is Midday Sunday. We are spending this morning talking about the new parenting classes that are being offered by the Children's Bureau of Southern California. Mary Webby is with us. She has the distinctive title of facilitator. What does a facilitator do?
A facilitator helps make things go smoothly in the new parent groups, and is someone who helps observe and helps guide the parents through the classes, and gets to present the wonderful materials that New Parent has put together. And actually, it's like being a hostess at a party. It's lots of fun. You get to go around and see if everybody's having fun, and you have fun, and there's singing, and there's dancing, and there's all kind of wonderful things.
Well, Mr. Morales, the executive director, when he was with us a few moments ago, he was talking about it, characterizing it as a vacation. I mean, it sounds to me like this ought to be hard work.
No. Parenting is very hard work.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But when they come together in the new parent groups, there's the sharing, the bonding that goes on, the feeling that you're not out there alone, and that there are wonderful things that you can do with this, as I say, puzzle that they've given you to put together, and that there's so many wonderful things you can enjoy together. So it's lots of fun. It's a social time for the adults, it's a social time for the babies, and it's fun for all of us.
How much bewilderment is out there amongst parents these days?
Well, I think there's probably the same amount that there always was. I think, though, for a lot of our parents, that they are not with the large families that we've had before, or they're removed geographically from their families or from their countries or their cultures, so that it makes a big difference in how they start out with their children, and they want to do the very best job possible. So many of them are bewildered, and the books sometimes they read, and they look at their child, and the child's not reading the same book, they're not doing the same things. So it just helps them relax a little bit. And the thing that I think is so valuable about New Parent is it gets you, as a parent, to really attend to your child, to notice the child, to get the rhythms of the child, the temperament of your child. How does it match with your temperament? What do you do if it doesn't match? There are all kinds of things that I think are valuable for parents, so that they can listen to the child, really hear what the child is communicating to them.
Children are communicating even though they're newborns?
Absolutely. From the word go. Yes, they are. There are all kinds of cries and cooing and sounds that they make, and so they immediately begin to communicate, and it's our responsibility to know how to read those communications.
And your the new parenting is not necessarily for people having their first baby.
No, as a matter of fact, in some of my sessions, I've had parents who are on their second or their third, and maybe they feel like they need re-education, or maybe they feel like they need to learn how to do it in a little bit different way, or just with a group of friends. And most of them do hear, besides the wonderful billboards that have gone up, a lot of them have heard from friends or colleagues or something like that and say, you know, this is a wonderful program, why don't you try it? So that's how they get into it.
Are there some particular areas that are more difficult for new parents than others? The 2 a.m. feedings maybe, or just the frustration?
I think the one, and I guess because it speaks to me and I feel a little anxiety knot in my own stomach, is the crying baby that you've done everything for, and that you know you've done the very best you can, and still that baby cries, and learning how to accept that and know that you've done everything, and sometimes you just have to go out of the room, regroup, and come back in and try again. And then I think there's always the worry of the sick baby, and we do have a session that we do on safety and health issues for the newborns, and that's always a little scary, because if they get a cold or their noses are stuffed up, it gets a little scary sometimes for new parents.
You finding that parents are getting older now? They're waiting later?
Many, yes, many are. And so they're starting out much later, as we used to think 25 was very old.
Yeah, sure.
And now we're seeing many first parents in their late 30s and early 40s.
I would imagine that for them, because by that time you're pretty much set in your ways, that the introduction of a new little person into their lives can be particularly frustrating.
Well, I think because so many of them have waited and have specially decided to have a child at that time, they're prepared mentally for it. But I don't think anything really prepares you for how they turn your lives upside down once they get into this world. But I think the older parent brings a maturity and a sort of level-headedness usually into that, so that they're just as delightful to work with. But I think all parents have the same kinds of concerns: age, culture, whatever.
And you raised the topic of culture. There are cultural differences in the way we bring up our children.
Absolutely.
How does that fit into what New Parenting is doing?
New Parenting is accepting of all of those things. The one thing I like about New Parent is it doesn't say this is the way to raise your child. This is not E = MC squared. That every culture has raised children. They have their different ways of doing things, and they incorporate those into, and with the suggestions that they give or how to use this. And I find a lot of us think there are things that our parents did that we really don't want to incorporate into how we raise our children, but there's much that's valuable that we want to see them carry on.
You know, as I sit here listening to you, I am struck by the fact that because of what you do and the rest of the folks at New Parenting, that you've, especially when you're dealing with issues like frustration, that you've probably saved a lot of little lives. If not actually saved them, certainly saved them from maybe a spanking.
And I think that the part of that we do help with is that letting parents know that, yes, all parents have those feelings. They get frustrated, but how to deal with them. And as you said, avoid some of the problems that we see too much of in the papers, I think.
Yeah. After those 8 two-hour sessions?
Yes.
It must be difficult for you to see some of those little babies go?
Yes, our graduates.
Yeah.
It's amazing how, and it's amazing how they change in that 8-week session, even.
Yeah. Mary, we're going to ask you to come back a little later in this program, and we'll talk some more. For now, our facilitator, bottom line for so many people is cost. What is it?
Sure. We have various partner organizations in the community that are offering the program. Some are offering it at no cost, and others are offering it at a maximum cost of $80 for the 8-week program.
Mm-hmm. And you're involved in one where that is happening, where it's a no cost?
Yes, we're sponsored by the Santa Monica Malibu School District's project called Infant Family Support Project, and it receives its funding from the California Endowment. So we're able to offer it at no cost to our participants, and we're really thrilled with that.
And you know, one of the points that I wanted to make absolutely sure that everyone understands is that you're welcome to this thing, and there's no stigma attached to feeling like you don't have all the answers.
Oh no, I hate to admit it, but I don't have all the answers either.
But you got more than most people.
And as I said, with the wonderful material that New Parent has provided, it's just a joy to use with New Parent.
And Tony,
A little quick piece of advice do you want to give to parents?
Keep your sense of humor.
very good.
Yes, keep your sense of humor. And as my mother, who was 1,800 miles away, said to me, enjoy every minute because it goes so fast. And I thought, that's easy for her to say. She's far away, but it does. It goes so fast, so you need to enjoy every second of every minute with them.
Yeah. And Miss Webby, and to Erica and Sharice, our thanks for being with us today, and we thank all of you. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.